Okay, thank you very much. I hope you hear me well.
Yes.
Thank you very much for inviting me to Spain. I would have preferred very much to be able to be with you in person, but we all know the reason why that is not possible, and I think it's still very important. Possibilities. So I'm going to talk to you about, I think, three different things to discuss a little bit what BEREC is doing in the area of 5G and also in the area of contributing to fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. And in that, there will be three different topics. So first, I'm going to say a few things about work we recently did on what we call the 5G radar. I will then talk a little bit about what BEREC has been doing since the outbreak of the COVID-19 in March in terms of gathering information on internet capacity. And then finally, I will say a few words about a recent document we adopted together with our friends in the Radio Spectrum Policy Group on electromagnetic field issues. You will have seen that there have been various reports about a link between COVID and 5G and EMF issues, which of course is completely nonsense. And I just wanted also, as an introduction, to say that all the things I'm talking about, of course, anyone interested can find all the materials on the BEREC webpage. So starting with the area of 5G, 5G is and has been for quite some time a very strategic priority for us in BEREC. We are just about to adopt our strategy for coming years, 2021 until 2025, and 5G will continue to be one of the very highly prioritized key areas for us. We have, over the past years, done quite a few things, many activities that have been going on in various working groups and committees and in collaboration with different stakeholders, addressing a big range of issues that come out of the 5G developments, like standards, interoperability, new business models, spectrum availability, of course, network sharing, quality of service, security, not least. And you know that there is ongoing work in many of these areas and ongoing developments that we just need to follow. So and before that, in about a year ago, in December of 2019, BEREC also published a report on the impact of 5G on regulation and the role that regulation can play in enabling 5G ecosystems, which we put together after a lot of discussion with different kinds of shareholders, which is the way we usually want to conduct our business. We have also this year initiated a project to help NRAs to anticipate issues involved in and support the pace of innovation. And innovation is, of course, as you all know, something that is very much at the heart of 5G. We want to see enable new developments. This work will build on other work that we have done in BEREC in the area, studying the implications of 5G deployments on future business models, which will be the future business models. It's still open questions to a large extent. We also published a number of reports and common positions related to 5G. We have reports about fixed mobile convergence, infrastructure sharing, spectrum authorization and award procedures, and of course also coverage obligations, which come out of different types of regulations and procedures. Many aspects of regulation that are involved in the 5G ecosystems, how these are addressed, and it could be very critical to the pace at which innovative services are brought to market. Especially within vertical sectors. The first assessment included shareholder views on an initial list of regulatory aspects, and in the context of 5G. From this list and stakeholder input, we concluded that there are really many things that need to be addressed. So that's our focus. It impacts many things, and most of the things we do, to be honest. And many member states are also, as you know now, at the point where we are issuing the pioneer band spectrum needed for deployment of 5G services. We have reached fairly different levels in different member states. The rollout may need more attention, and we will continue to share experiences. What does then possibilities for network sharing, slicing, for example, mean in when it is put out there in practice? We have been talking about network slicing for some time, and it's interlinked, for example, to our work on network neutrality issues. We have also done work on that, and we think these two can be compatible, but the proof is in eating of the pudding, I think. So we're very much looking forward to continuing this work together as NRAs and with all the stakeholders in the market. So these are issues that many of the issues I mentioned you can find in this work on the 5G radar that I mentioned, that you can find, and I recommend reading at the BEREC page. Now moving over to the pandemic issues and work that BEREC has been doing in this area during 2020. It all started with a joint statement with the European Commission from the 19th of March, so very early on in the pandemic, when we all over Europe, almost overnight, transformed from physical presence and work, school, and all sorts of other services, to a lockdown situation where we wanted to carry on with our business as best as we could from our homes or from other areas. This, of course, was a huge event, and there was very real worries that would the electronic systems that we have, would they be able to cope? So that's the background, and that's why very committed to setting up a special reporting mechanism where we ensured regular monitoring of internet traffic situation across the EU in all the member states. And the idea, of course, was to see very quickly if there were issues so that we could then respond swiftly to any capacity issues that would come along as a result of this huge transition. We have also been collecting information on other measures implemented by either the NRAs or by private sector participants to deal with the COVID situation, and I'll say a few more words about that in a moment. So in the beginning, we reported twice weekly based on reports that the NRA sent into BEREC. We had summary reports then passed on to the Commission from in total 32 European NRAs sharing data on internet capacity issues in their markets. We have since been able to streamline that, and at the moment we are still doing this, but we're doing it not twice weekly, but once monthly to continue to monitor the situation. The next report, I think, will be released at the end of this month. And we, of course, put also all of those reports for anyone who's interested on the BEREC page. How has it then worked? So in general, traffic both on fixed and mobile networks increased, as you can imagine, tremendously. We are very happy to say that there really haven't been any major congestion issues anywhere. The evolution of internet traffic observed during the crisis was in sort of three phases. We had a first very sharp increase we had a period of stabilization, and then after, or in the middle of the summer until early autumn, we are also seen actually a decrease in many markets. And the NRAs, as I mentioned, are continue to monitor the situation, reporting, collecting data from ISPs and other market players, so that we can take actions if and when needed. But as I've said, the networks have been tremendously well functioning, and we are very happy about that, of course, and I think the society should be very happy about that as well, because you can imagine the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown situation. If we didn't have electronic systems functioning, we would have been very stranded. So thank you very much to anyone watching who has helped in performing this transition and keeping our electronic highways running. I said I would come back on some other actions. We have also monitored what other things might be done in order to ease the stress of lockdowns. We have had a lot of reports about operators implementing customer-friendly measures, including additional data, free of charge services for people to be able to connect to the internet to get the information. We have also had distribution of information to customers using various channels, updates on websites, social media accounts, press releases. We have had, in some member states, allowing online payment settlements, where such settlements were not available prior to the pandemic. We have had alternative payment methods. We have had extending due dates for persons with difficulty of paying their bills for whatever reason. So quite a few measures of that nature to keep people online. Also some technical measures like increasing bandwidth, increasing upload speed, which is, I think, a new function that we have seen coming on with everyone, or many people being on these platforms that we're currently using. We need a lot more upload speed compared to pre-pandemic, when I think focus was much more on download speeds. And now with COVID lockdowns being implemented again, this is of course something to be very happy about, that we have invested in getting these processes up for monitoring the capacity issues, and we are very pleased and expect the networks to continue to serve us well as we now head into more difficult lockdown situations again. I will move briefly into my third area, which I wanted to mention, which is related to work we did together with the Radio Spectrum Policy Group. We issued a paper in October of this year on spectrum-related electromagnetic fields, or EMF issues. And the background to this statement is, of course, that 5G technology standards for cellular networks, together with the use of new frequency bands, stimulated a discussion on potential health effects of the EMF exposure to human health. This is not new. We have had it with the launch of previous Gs as well, and I think we've had it in other areas of society as well, related to electricity use and so on. But every time it pops up, and in particular this time, spread of misinformation during a crisis like COVID, it is necessary to try to bring good information to the discussion. So that's the background why the RSPG and BEREC together decided to do this work. And what we wanted to do is to publish accurate information on the new technology, how EMF, how these networks radiate, and in this context, we studied the 5G and related topics carefully, and we want very much to put out good information, as I mentioned, about the scientific background to this. How does it actually look? And what we use then is independent data from the International Commission of Non-Iodizing Radiation Protection, or ICNIRP, a non-profit organization that has given us facts that we can use. And what we see is that the EMF emissions from base stations currently observed in member states are very well below the recommended levels from the health organization. And the joint statement essentially states that accurate information is key. Objective scientific information is what we should rely upon. And the guidelines that I mentioned from ICNIRP, they are the best set of information that we have, and this is what we wanted to ensure that others can refer to as well. And of course, BEREC, and I'm sure the RSPG will continue to follow this discussion, the development. We are very happy to work with other expert bodies and to try to build confidence in using the new 5G services that will come out of all the work that everyone is doing to strengthen our communication platforms and to provide for new innovative services with these products. So I think that's probably most of my allotted time. Thank you again very much for inviting me to share BEREC's current situation in the field of 5G. And I don't know if there is any time for questions or any questions. I would be happy to address if there are any. Thank you.